So, reader Darren617 asks, this is the topic.
Okay.
Ron Washington or Ron Gardenhire? Which Ron do you want? And he says, I would like to see Ron Gardenhire being shown the door and bring in a new manager. Texas has had many injuries and could not get anything going with so many high-priced starters out of the season. The best thing that could happen in the future of Minnesota is to completely start fresh from the top all the way down, replace Terry Ryan, Ron Gardenhire, and Rick Anderson to get started rebuilding the franchise. How's that take?
It's a hot take. I've heard that a lot with people that I've talked to about the Twins. Like, it's not just I kind of get the eye roll when you're like, well, do you think Molitor will make a good manager? They're like, you got to get out. You got to start over. Start from scratch, because it's just going to be, in 3 years they don't want to have the same conversation that Terry Ryan's got his guy, coaching and he won't get rid of him. I get that a lot when I just talk to my friends, and I don't know. If Terry Ryan's in charge of who the manager is next year, I think we've talked about this on the podcast. If Terry Ryan is in charge of it, it's going to be Ron Gardenhire unless he says, I'm out.
Feet to the fire. Who does Dan Anderson want to manage next year?
I don't know. I don't think I want Molitor, and I don't think I want Gardenhire. I don't really have a hot take. This week with Ron Washington, I mean, I don't know what happened in the last 2 days with him, but
the GM did come out and say it wasn't drug related. Okay. He did have the cocaine pass.
Right.
This was off field family stuff, is what they said. And They really haven't released too much on that.
Got it. And Ron Washington, is that even an option? If he's hopefully everything's okay. You hope the guy's not.
He was awesome in Moneyball, by the way.
Yeah.
It was incredibly hard.
It was incredibly hard. Yeah. The one good line. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of am of the belief that maybe it's time to just start this thing over with and hire a new GM and have him bring in his guy. I don't know where to go, but
no, this isn't my take, but I think in terms of the landscape of the Twins, we've talked about this before. Ron Gardenhire has another year.
Yeah,
I don't see him leaving.
Yeah,
I don't see Terry Ryan firing him.
Right,
and I think that'll come down to it. If the poll ads say you got to fire Ron, then Terry is probably going to step down and say, well, we're a package deal.
Yeah.
And that's the same kind of thing. And same thing with Rick Anderson. I don't see Ron Gardenhire saying, you fire Rick Anderson, I'm going to stay around. I could see him leaving on his own and retiring.
His losses got to be adding up.
So, yeah, I mean, that might be the mojo thing. But I think what we both have said is that it'd be nice to see something fresh out of the organization.
Right.
New blood.
And the reason people are upset is that, we're working on 4 years of 90-plus losses, and nobody else other than Tom Kelly, nobody else in the history of baseball has kept their job for that long. And
Connie Mack. Don't say history without knowing history. Okay.
Thanks. Mm-hmm. But it's rare for someone to lose 90 games 4 years in a row and keep their job. And I think the reason people want it to be top down, start over, is you got to get rid of that mindset that this is okay. Like, no, everything's fine. Head in the sand. Like, no, Ron's doing a good job. And is he doing a good job? Is he doing a bad job? He doesn't have any talent on the team right now.
If you look at the team, there's not a whole lot a manager could do to, push this from a 70 win to an 81. I don't think there's any manager out there that's going to win you 11 games just on clubhouse. Yay, let's all have a fun dress-up day on the road trip.
Right. Look how loose he keeps it.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think it's hard to gauge exactly what a manager contributes.
Right.
But I think overall fan base. If you're going to do a email survey, I think more of them want to see a fresh start with everything.
Right.
Speaking of emails.